Hello, my name is Goff. I'm 22 years old, turning 23 in June. We were blessed with a sunny day here in Ithaca, New York, so I thought I'd take the opportunity in between a little bit of studying to get outside and enjoy the weather. First and foremost, I want to thank Impact Physio for even giving me the opportunity to be able to work with you guys this summer and possibly in the future. So I guess just to kind of start from the beginning, I grew up in Clarkstown, Pennsylvania with a family of educators, which I'm super blessed about. We have a very, very close-knit family networking that I think is pretty unique. All of our holidays are 25 plus people at any given time at our house. We might have 10 people over for dinner just on an ordinary night. I went to Abington Heights High School. I graduated there in 2015. During my time at Abington, I was involved in a variety of different sports. I always grew up pretty active. All of my best friends at home are from sports and different activities we used to play together. I would say my main sport or my first love in sports was definitely football. I started playing when I was in 5th grade. And it really has blessed me with a lot of life lessons, I think. A lot of good takeaways, lifelong friends. Our coach in high school really stressed things outside of football, kind of developing high schoolers into young men and instilling life lessons in us that I think have really stuck and will continue to stick with us forever. When it kind of got time in high school to start thinking about where we want to go to school, what we wanted to study, what we wanted to do with the rest of our lives, which at that time I thought was kind of lofty for a 17, 18-year-old, but I understand that. I always kind of thought that I wanted to do something related to the medical field. In the medical field, I really wanted to help people. As a kid and growing up, I always was very curious about how things worked. I've always had a really big interest in science. I always found myself wondering about the human body and why things happen, why things hurt, why did this do this, why did things change. So I always kind of thought along those lines and what I wanted to do, but I didn't quite think that I wanted to go to medical school. I didn't know if I wanted to devote that much time and money into schooling. And I think that at least at the time it didn't seem like a blessing, but looking back on it now, it really was a blessing in disguise. My junior year of high school during football season, I tore my right ACL, and at that time I had limited knowledge on anything related to that or anything that went into something like that. So my season ended around the 4th week, which to me was, devastating at the time, but adapt and overcome kind of is what it is. So I was first introduced to physical therapy at that time, and I really fell in love, I think, initially with the type of environment that it was. I really liked that one-on-one experience, the rapport that you really got to build with patients. So that kind of got my wheels turning about maybe a possibility of what I wanted to do. And then, unfortunately, the following season, I had the same exact injury, but on my left leg, which I think for me at that point was a little bit tougher mentally, going through a 6+ month recovery to get back to where I was physically and mentally, and then for it to happen again, really took a hit to me. But luckily, through our team doctor and consulting different professionals, I took about 2 or 3 weeks off and did some physical therapy with the athletic trainer and different therapists, and I was able to regain some strength and range of motion back, and I put a brace on and finished out the season just because I didn't really want to lose another full season, understanding the risks and complications that could go along with it. But long story short, everything kind of ended up working out fine, and towards the end of the season I ended up getting that one reconstructed as well. So I was due for another 6 months of physical therapy. And at that point I had really heavily started thinking about becoming a physical therapist and applying to physical therapy schools. I really liked, and I forget where I heard it, but I heard once that a doctor may save your life, but a physical therapist is someone who's going to give you your life back, which I really fell in love with that saying. I really love the one-on-one connection, the possibility that you're going to see them multiple times a week, and kind of build that alliance throughout someone's entire journey and really give them the quality of life back that they deserve and that they had prior to. So Ithaca College was definitely one on my list. I had toured and immediately fell in love with the area, fell in love with the campus, the scenery. It was beautiful. It was also summertime when I first visited, so I didn't really quite understand the winters that we could get here, but so I applied and got accepted. And at first there was the usual transitioning to college is hard and adapting to everything like that, but I think through the years that I've really grown as a person, I've really matured, really had some values instilled in me, especially recently with, I'm a senior, so I'm going to graduate this May, and I have 2 more years here to get my doctorate of physical therapy. And I've really been blessed with some phenomenal instructors, some great professors here. And I think what has really stood out to me so far is that we've learned, a tremendous amount of knowledge and everything about the human body and diagnosing, examining, and treating. But what has really stuck out to me this semester is that there's so much more to it than just figuring out the issue and treating the issue. In one class in particular, we talked about developing a therapeutic alliance with a patient. And to me, it really clicked and came through that that's, almost, if not the most important aspect in treating someone is if you don't have a relationship with someone and you don't put them first and you don't think about their impairments and, the function that they've lost, then you're not really reaching your goal. If you're just treating impairments and treating pain and getting range of motion and strength back, that's great, but if you don't connect with them and give them back the life and make that important to them, I think you're really missing the point. So I really think that that's a huge takeaway so far of what I've been able to get out of physical therapy school so far. And it's really amazing to look back a year ago and where I was and to really have no base knowledge of anything I have now and how far we've all come a year. So I'm really excited for the next 2 years and the next phase of our curriculum and to continue diving into it. And reiterating how I kind of started off, but it really is an honor to be considered as an applicant for the position and to work for a company like Impact Physio. So I really appreciate it.